Scott at scottcarvings.com, and today I am going to carve a Pilgrim Man in his gun. I debated on whether to do this in one piece, but I decided to do it in have a second piece. I'll put that out of the way. We'll take care of that later. This is going to be a new design for me, and so just like when we carve Arv and Ola, this I was showing you how I was kind of doing my R&D, research development. And so this is going to be kind of sort of like the same way, where I have not carved one of these. I used daz3d.com, Daz3D program, to do this. I'll talk a little bit more about it. That's where I do a lot of my engineering, prototyping. And then of course I have a couple of printouts of other pilgrims to help me along the way. So here is the cutout. Now, like I said, I'm just engineering this for the first time. Maybe you might want to have this come out a little more. I think I might be a little short to have this come out a bit for the gun, but I think I'll be all right. I have it so the gun is going to be, he's going to be holding the gun like this, but I have a feeling it's going to end up being sort of like this kind of a thing. But we'll see when we get there. Maybe see how thin this guy is. Maybe I got the legs a little too thick. I always like to give extra wood to my cutouts, except I did not for the hand. So again, there's the pattern this way. I got the light and it's a little shadowy, a little bit like that. And there's the pattern this way. And the height, oh, I don't have my ruler. I think it's about 7. Oh, I don't have my ruler handy. But that's the pattern right there. And we'll just get started by drawing in. While I'm drawing in, like I said, I got this from the program I used called Daz3D, or daz3d.com. Go check them out. A reason why, if you're into doing stuff like this, engineering your own, coming up with creating your own design, and needing a pencil that will draw and not just lay there. And so the software itself, there's 2 reasons why, if you're into creating your own, in fact, you even think about creating your own, that you should go and download it. 2 reasons. One, it comes in true 2-dimensional form for your patterns, which is important. It also has the perspective view, like this, where you turn it around, and and as you get it close, you zoom in, the nose will become like a large schnoz. And anyways, but it also has two-dimensional. Comes in true 2-dimensional. That's one reason why you should download it. And the second is that it is totally free. Free software. Daz3d.com. Now the thing is that they will, after you get your put in your email and all of that, is that they will send you the latest, what's on sale, which is good for me. I like to see what's on sale. A lot of times I would do most of my downloading or purchasing when it's on sale. I don't remember the last time I purchased anything. I don't think I ever purchased anything regular price. One time they had a lot of stuff for 90% off. And holy smokes, $500 worth of stuff for $50. It comes with one male and one female and a couple articles of clothing for you to get started. And it's even then worth trying out. Okay, this particular figure is, I'm going to have him looking to his right slightly. So the nose is going to come here. So I'm going to do something different than just simply doing a simple fisherman or hunter or something. We're going to turn his head. I'll show you how to do that. And there's the feet. You like to bring the feet just draw this angle like this. And then you just, and of course these will be more smoothed out. This is just to get you started on the feet. This is now the printout I have here is relatively realistic. And I'm going to convert him into semi-caricature realistic. I guess once you get to semi-caricature, it is caricature. But it's just sort of a nice guideline for posing somebody. Posing, or instead of having a person who will pose for you, and maybe one will charge a model or something. The hand's going to come out this way, so the elbow's going to come back farther. Now this particular model, for the sake of ease, he's got in his hand, he's holding the Bible. Now I don't know, I was going to have, you can have him holding a turkey. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. You say if somebody would be offended that he has the Bible, as opposed to they're offended because they're carrying a dead animal, I don't know. So I just did it for the sake of ease. He's carrying the Bible. It's the Bible of the group. By that time, I'm pretty sure things were pretty well printed, and this could be Bradford, I don't know. And the thing that's very interesting is, like I said, you get some freebies from that group, from that 3D.com. And some of them you can change the size and shape of something. Now the Bible, usually if it's a book, the book will be like this. So in other words, the writing will be like this, and then the hand will come down holding. Now if you wanted a turkey instead, you can have this sort of like an egg-shaped blob, but put a little extra tail for the hanging neck. And then, except the thing is, if he's like that, the turkey will be sort of splaying out its wings. And what I've done before was I've carved little wings and shoved it in there, and then the tail too, shoved it in there. Or you can try to figure out how to do that without having to put all the extra pieces on it. But for the sake of, I'm using the Bible for the sake of ease. He's carrying, I want him to carry something. Anyways, what I have here is a good example of being a little creative. I don't have a book. I have never downloaded a book, but that actually is a woman's purse. And so you can shape it and whatever, just enough to make a nice pattern, just enough to get you the feel, so you can see how it's not a square book, but I'm going to carve it like a square book. As a matter of fact, if you're familiar with my mermaid, is a good example. My mermaid, I use a mermaid on a rock. I used what do you call it, ottoman, where you put your feet on, and you can stretch it and make it do all kinds of things. And so there's a square thing, and I stretched it and then put the figure of the mermaid on that square ugly shaped thing to represent the rock. And then later on I would carve the rock the way I want it to carve. Okay, away we go. When we do the legs, I'm just going to kind of smooth it out because he's going to have I'm going to call it the pants legs, the pantaloons, or whatever you call that. I'll just draw it in to remind myself, and I don't have to worry about it right. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But this is going to be mostly all smoothed out before I worry about putting that in. Alright, I am going to cut out the arms to get things started. Make sure I got enough for the book. The Bible here got enough. I'll shape it later, but just make sure I got more than enough. I think it's a bigger book than... Anyways. And away we go. But before I do that, let's kind of round this off a little bit, because I like taking corners off right away. I don't know about you, but I like taking corners off because when you're handling it and that corner just kind of, I don't want to say it doesn't really hurt that much, but it's just very uncomfortable. So I'm going to end up rounding this off a little bit. Try to take corners off, and like I said, I'm going to smooth this out. And so here we go. First thing I like to do is get my V-tool. Now I need to put on another glove every time I use a tool, a chisel, and I always like to put on last year's glove, or even though there's it's still all right, but as I use this glove until it wears down, and then it gets to this glove, and then the glove I had before, that gets thrown away. So here we go, make sure I'm in the camera, make sure you can see. I'm cutting these lines for right now. That's kind of interesting when I do, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oops. I shouldn't have done that. Before you do that, leave this. I think we could probably still be all right. Like I said, this is engineering, and you could screw up alongside with me here, because that's what I want to do. I prefer to teach wood carving, how to carve wood. That's one of the main reasons why I've got into rough outs now, is when I teach, and a lot of people with the rough outs will have the students, and I don't have as many because I like to teach from scratch. And I just come to the conclusion that people more likely prefer to go home with something. Whereas if you start with a cutout, it's not, you still have a lot more to do when you get home. But I've got other ideas of teaching. I'm going to teach the face and all that, kind of teach the eyes and all of that. Everything else you can rough out. So at least you go home with something that you've learned. Okay, I'm gonna start with the big chisel. The big chisel has a lot of power. The thing I like about it, it has more power. This is a good piece of wood, actually. Am I still in the camera here? Let me tilt it just a little. Get close to the edge there. Yeah, I'll just get carried away with my carving, and I just won't pay attention where the camera is. See, we're just starting to take wood off here. So I've begin to round the arms just a little bit. While I got this, I'm going to just take a little bit of this off, take the corners off. Ouchy corners. And the same with here. Because I know the heel will go in, so I got plenty to to go in with, and I want to make sure I got that coat. The hanging coat is still there.